Alright, last video for the Knox Night Owls program, guys. Thank you for all of you who've come along on this journey and have been watching the videos. And also, I know a lot of you have been doing the tasks at home, so well done. It's been a weird time with COVID, but I'm really proud of all of you. Today in the workshop, I'm going to be doing a little bit of a quiz, as usual. And anyone who gets 2 questions right gets a prize, so pay close attention. As always, you know, notepad, something to write with. And while you go and get that today, we've decided that we're going to show you some videos of epic fails where nobody actually got hurt.
Are you even enjoying it?
No.
Oh, no. No.
Alright, the reason we're going to talk about sleep today, so today's workshop is on sleep. So the reason we're going to talk about sleep today is number 1, because some of you guys requested it. Number 2, because research shows that actually only about 15% of Australian teenagers are getting enough sleep. Did you hear that? 15%. That's like shocking. And the last reason is that having worked with young people for years and years now, it's actually one of the most popular workshops because lots of young people are having trouble getting sleep. So before we get into what distracts you from your sleep and how you can fix it, we're going to start with some facts. So this is where the quiz might come in later. Alright, first fact, as a teenager, you actually need more sleep than a toddler. This is because you're growing so much, yeah, because you're getting taller, you know, you've got lots of brain changes, all of that sort of stuff. And because your body's using stacks of energy, you actually need more sleep than a toddler. You need 8 to 10 hours sleep a night, but of course, hardly anybody's getting that. The most common sleep distraction, and this probably isn't a surprise, is technology. And we've talked about this before. If you leave your phone on and somebody buzzes you up because they're changing their profile picture at 2 o'clock in the morning, it's going to ruin your sleep and it's not a good way to do it. Now, as teenagers, your sleep patterns change. Little kids, no trouble getting up early, get up, pack their breakfast, all of this sort of stuff. And you probably notice about the ages of 11, 12 or 13, basically when puberty starts to kick in, that what happens is you find it harder and harder to get up. And I know lots of teenagers who, particularly in school holidays, you know, find it really easy to sleep into 1 or 2 in the afternoon. This is because of a hormone called melatonin. Yeah. Now, at my age, my levels of melatonin, or the sleep hormone, actually kick in probably about 8:30, and I'm yawning on the couch and getting ready to go to bed by 9 or 9:30. What happens with teenagers is your melatonin levels actually get high much later. So it's actually normal for you to not feel sleepy until about 11 o'clock at night, or maybe even midnight. And a normal wake up time for you is 8 o'clock or 9 o'clock. Problem being school starts at night. We'll talk about that in a minute. And the last thing I want you to know is that it should take you ideally 10 to 20 minutes to fall asleep. If it's taking you more or less, that's your body trying to tell you something. If it's less, what it means is your body's probably overtired, and you need to start maybe trying to put some sleep in the sleep bank. If it's more, maybe you're sleeping too much or you've got too much going on mentally. And again, we're going to talk about that in a minute. So those are some of the facts that you need to know about sleep. And now we're going to talk about what happens when you don't get enough. So is sleep really that important? Well, if you've ever gone without it for a long time, you probably already know the answer. Back in 1989, the Exxon Valdez, which was a ship loaded with crude oil, had a captain that didn't have enough sleep. And because of that, he ran onto the reef and caused the largest ecological spill of oil in history that only just got the basics cleaned up last year, 30 years of cleaning it up. Now, you guys don't drive big oil ships, but there's lots of other ways it will affect you. It just goes to show what can go wrong though when we're so tired. So, for you guys, if you're tired, you're not going to do as well at your study. They've done some research with lots and lots of studies around young people and sleep. They even had a school in America that changed their start time to just half an hour later, so kids would get that half an hour more sleep. and they found that the whole grade point for that whole school went up 15%. They didn't change anything else. Kids were just getting that little bit of extra sleep, and the whole school was doing better with their studies. If you love your sport, yep, you're going to do worse with your sport because not enough sleep slows down your reflexes, which means you won't be as good at your sport. And if you care about how you look, less sleep causes more pimples. It's just a fact. And also, we've talked about this before, makes you want to eat more junk food. Not because you're hungrier, but just because you feel lousy and your body starts to crave salts and sugars. It's really bad for your mental health not to get enough sleep, and we're going to talk about that one at the end. But the one we probably all know about, the most obvious one, is just everything seems harder. We're more emotional, we're more cranky, we're less patient. All of the things that maybe we could normally cope with become too hard if we're not getting enough sleep. So yeah, you need your 8 to 10 hours if you can get it. Next thing we need to talk about after biology is environments. Now, this can seem pretty obvious, but sometimes we don't stop to think about it. For example, if my bed is really lumpy and uncomfortable, that's going to make it harder to go to sleep. If my room or my quilt is too hot, so really you should be sleeping between kind of 16 and 18 degrees. So if you've got that heater cranked up to 20, you're just going to sleep worse. If you live with a noisy family or on a noisy street, even if you're asleep, we know that noise will actually make you have worse physical health. Even if you don't wake up, noisy houses actually make people sicker. So one of the easy ways to fix that is by just putting a fan on in the corner of your room, and the white noise will block all that stuff out. And the last thing is light. So when we see light, when our brain senses light, it thinks that it's daytime and it thinks we should be awake no matter how tired we are. So what you want to do is get your room as dark as possible. All of those little standby lights, turn them off or cover them with a piece of material. Make sure you've got heavy curtains if you've got like a lot of daylight coming in. All of those sorts of things. A cool, dark, quiet room is always really good for your sleep. So another area that we need to talk about is lifestyle choices. We've already thought about, or we're going to think about, the way we use electronics and how that affects our sleep. The other two really obvious areas are exercise and sleep. So guys, at your age you need 40 minutes to an hour of moderate to vigorous exercise a day. I know some of you love your basketball, that's what we love doing at night hours. Some of you love your netball and other sports. That's an easy way to get some exercise and also be around your friends. But if you don't like team sports, that's completely fine. Find another way to use a bit of energy. Walk the dog, or even just grab a mate and walk around the park a couple of times. Maybe get off the bus a couple of stops early at school. Find other ways that you can just use that energy. If you're not using that energy, then you're actually not going to get as much sleep, and you end up more tired than if you burn a bit of energy doing sports. And finally, we need to talk about diet. Now, diet's more than just eating healthy. It's a really interesting place to think about the way that chemicals and brain chemicals affect our whole well-being. So we're going to start by having a look at some of these things and work out whether they're good for us. So, thumbs up or thumbs down? Cheese. Do you think it's good before you go to sleep or not? Yeah, it's not. The reason being, it produces an amino acid called tyramine, and it actually is a brain stimulant. Same here with your tomatoes. So this isn't saying you shouldn't eat cheese and tomatoes. These are really healthy. But if you have a big meal just of this right before bedtime, you're going to find it harder to go to sleep. All right, here we've got a cup of coffee. Yes? No? It's obvious. Caffeine is actually a stimulant. It's used to wake us up. Same with a normal cup of tea, and same with chocolate. So all of these things have caffeine in them, as do Red Bull and lots of other energy drinks. If you take these any time near bedtime, you're going to stimulate your brain, and again makes it hard to go to sleep. Now, the exception is actually herbal teas like chamomile or stuff like that. They have no caffeine, or a warm milk or a warm Milo, because there's less caffeine than the rest in that, and that can actually help us go to sleep. But caffeine products, no good near bedtime. All right, pasta, burgers, fries, pizza. Hey, we've said before, I love all of those things in small doses, but good for sleep, yes or no? Yeah, no. And the reason that if we eat heavy fatty foods, what happens is our body is still trying to break them down as we go to sleep, and so our metabolism is working overtime, and it can make it harder to go to sleep. All right, tuna, what do you think? Yes or no? Tuna's actually a yes, and I'm going to explain why. Some of these foods, including turkey, nuts and milk, all produce a chemical called tryptophan. Tryptophan actually helps relax us and helps us go to sleep. So that's why I like a cup of warm milk before bed. Even if you put a bit of Milo in it, it's going to help you, because all of these things actually produce brain chemicals that help us relax and help us go to sleep. So if we're not sleeping well, thinking about what we eat right before bedtime can make a difference. And again, I'll put a link on that so you can check it out. Plus they're really good for you. So the last area we need to think about with sleep is our mental health. Now sometimes if we're struggling with our mental health or not doing very well with our well-being, our sleep will go tick, tick, tick. We start thinking about things when we're going to sleep or wake up thinking about things. But also, not getting enough sleep can also make your mental health worse. So maybe you're doing okay, but it's a bit stressful. You start not going to bed at the right time, not getting enough sleep, and that's when your mental health is going to suffer. Your mental health is like every other health. Your dental health, brush your teeth. Your physical health, eat healthy. Your mental health, we all have it. Sometimes we all have tough mental health. But if you're not looking after it, it's going to struggle. So talk to a trusted adult, even go and see a counsellor or a youth worker and see if you can get some help. The sooner you go, the sooner you'll get better. Alright, so what can we do? Here's some tips. First thing, naps are okay, but don't have long naps, yeah? Try and keep them down to 40 minutes to an hour. No caffeine after lunch. If you struggle with your sleep, really try and avoid those caffeine drinks, energy drinks, coffee, tea, that sort of stuff. Plan your bedtime and stick to it. So if you know you really need to be in bed by 10:30 or 10 or 11, start getting into that routine. Get in your pajamas or your dressing gown. If you have a shower or a bath at night, do that. Maybe a hot milk or a hot Milo. Turn those devices on to blue light and get all of those things happening. So you start training your brain, okay, it's bedtime, it's sleep time, we're starting to get ready for sleep. As part of that, try and avoid doing things in bed that are actually awake things, like studying or watching movies or making phone calls, yeah? If you need to go do those things, get up, sit in a chair, go to your desk, and train your brain that once we go to bed, we're there just to sleep, okay? Electronics, I know you guys, try not to use them before bedtime. They actually stimulate your brain as well as your eyesight. They trick you into thinking it's daytime and it's going to take longer to go to sleep. So try and avoid them close to bedtime. Exercising, drinking, eating, try and avoid them too close to bedtime too, because as I said, your metabolism is going to be processing stuff. If you're worried about stuff, keep a worry list, yeah? So write down all the things you're worried about before you go to bed. Fold them up, put them in a box or a drawer. They'll be there in the morning when you can work through them, but tell your brain, hey, we don't need to worry about that tonight. We've written them down, we can stress about those tomorrow. So those are some tips. I'm going to give you a website too on the Facebook page with heaps more that you can go and look at. Your homework this week, super simple. Last time, I want you to write down how many hours sleep you're getting now, and I want you to write down 2 things off that list that you could try and get half an hour more sleep in 2 weeks. I want you to write it down, what you're doing now, fold it up, put it in your socks and jocks drawer with a date 2 weeks from now. And in 2 weeks from now, I want you to open up and see how you've gone. And if that's not working, have a look through the list and see if there's anything else that you could be doing to help you with your sleep. All right, that's the last one, guys. Thanks for being on this journey. You know what to do. Be free.